Hey guys, and welcome back to Yu-Gi-Oh! The Falsebound Kingdom. As always, I'm DemonFire93, and today we'll be taking on Reversal. I'm back from my vacation, which didn't really tell anybody I was taking, but didn't feel the need to. Had to take a week off from Yu-Gi-Oh! For it, because I didn't get a chance. So we're a bit behind. We don't know what's going on. Oh, right, Taya! So yeah, our sorceress or whoever who was supposed to be rebelling against Merrick is Taya. Surprise! If you harm even one hair on their head, the heads of these people, you'll regret it. Hey, isn't that Taya? Really? Ah, no. Merrick's forces are almost on top of her. Great. Well, better start building. What are our lose conditions? Anybody? Is anybody even after Taya? They kind of seem to be flying past her. Like they don't give a damn. So, I'm not gonna give a damn either, I guess. So we have a mystical elf with fanaticism and crystal shards, Aquamadur with aqua pressure and tidal wave, and rogue doll with glaring chaos. Any items? I didn't mean to do that. Was my bad. No items. Okay. Well, we want to get rid of this asshole first, because he's got the ability to poison all of us. And you just go ahead and use a tidal wave, Aquamadur. It's just the best thing you could do. So, a couple episodes ago, we talked about Game of Thrones, and I was giving my theory as to how the whole thing was gonna go. Boy, was I partially wrong. Shut up, Sub Pup, more important things are happening. So, spoilers for the ending of Game of Thrones. You have been warned. Yeah, that was an ending. The whole season really just felt too rushed, which is ridiculous because they had an extra year to do it, and they did less episodes, but it just felt like they didn't pace it out right. And that they knew the final places that they wanted things to be, and then they went, oh right, we also have a couple of side characters that we still have to work into our plan. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, throw them in somewhere. Crap, well, they're over here. What I mean by that is, like, Jamie at the end of last season was like, okay, well, I'm riding north to go fight with the Northerners against the Night King. That was the end of season 7. And so he left, went north, and then had this like beautiful moment with Brienne where he knighted her and then slept with her and then was like, I'm leaving to go back to Cersei because I'm an idiot and haven't apparently grown at all as a character, even though I have, which is stupid. And then goes and gets to her and they die together. It's like they knew that they wanted him to die with her, but they're like, oh shit, that's right, we had him go all the way up to King's Landing. We have to figure out a way to do that. And it's like, they had the whole Missandei thing, which was at the time of that episode that we were talking about Game of Thrones last. That was the furthest I had seen, because that was the furthest that had aired at that time. So you expected that the following episode that Daenerys was gonna start burning King's Landing, but instead she went back to, was it Dragonstone, or did she go back to Winterfell and just kind of mourn Missandei for 2 weeks? Which then made her deciding to burn all of King's Landing. Like, I understand they needed to make her a bad character. Like, they needed to have people rooting for Jon. But it just would have made more sense for her character, I feel, if she had immediately decided to go, fuck you, burn all of King's Landing after Missandei had been decapitated. Because then it would have been a crime of passion, and then at least there could have been some people who were like, okay, yeah, she was justified. But then most of us who are level-headed would be like, no, she wasn't. She should not have burned all those innocent people. But they really wanted to make it where everybody went, no, she should not have done that, what she did, because evil. So they were like, we need to send her away. And that was another thing. It's like they needed to get all these stories resolved. So like, well, we can't have Daenerys immediately start burning everybody down, because we forgot that we wanted to have Clegane Bowl happen. the Clegane brothers have their fight, and if Daenerys is burning down King's Landing, well, they're gonna die in that, so they wouldn't be able to have that fight. Well, actually, the Hound wasn't in King's Landing when when Daenerys was at the gate with Cersei and everything. That was the whole thing. It was like Arya and the Hound rode off, but Cersei was like, let's get all of the peasants out into the keep to make it so that if Daenerys attacks, she'll burn us all to hell. And I guess that was all of the guys, huh? No? You said any more? And then, yeah, it was like Arya the Hound and Jaime had all left after Daenerys was already at the gates. And so it's like, crap, we have to delay the battle because these guys need to get into place because we fucked up. It's what it felt like, anyways. And it was just kind of bad. I loved Tyrion finding Jaime and Cersei. I hated how Cersei and Jaime died. I feel like somebody needed to have the pleasure of killing Cersei, and having the castle fall on her was not a just way for me. Anybody could have been a better decision than just the castle falls on her. But after that had happened and then Tyrion goes and finds him, that was an awesome moment. I was nearly in tears from that. That was very sad to have Tyrion, and then I was afraid that Tyrion was gonna sit there and fucking fight back, like he was gonna go to Daenerys and like try and attack her and get killed. It's like, no, you have to be the last of the Lannisters to be smart and live. And then the whole Bran, the Broken, it makes sense for him to be king because of him being the 33-eyed raven, but it's just so far out of like left field that everybody's like, what the fuck? Where did this even come from? It didn't make a goddamn bit of sense for the way that they were running it. And I was really irritated with the fact that Jon just kind of went back to the wall. That's where we leave Jon Snow. Because apparently after a dragon burns the throne, and people who were part of the army who helped conquer to get you to that throne, when they're against you, you're not allowed to be on that throne anymore. Didn't make much sense. So, yeah, they just kind of ruined Daenerys this entire season. I mean, it was a whole thing of she was slowly descending into this madness. We could see it, how she burnt the the Tullys, or not Tullys, the Tarleys, sorry. Tully's completely different family. The Tarleys, Sam's father and brother, that was like the beginning of her downfall into her craziness, and it made sense for her to go for revenge after Missende, but for her to go mourn for 2 weeks between that just ruined what could have been an alright. Like, I would be like, yeah, I understand her justification for doing that. But literally everybody was surrendered, and she's like, no, now we fight. It's like, no. You won. Everybody could have lived happy. Everybody. But, nope. I understand Game of Thrones is not about happy endings, but sometimes we need a little bit of a happy ending. And what we got was not that. And it was like the whole thing was, we need to break the wheel, we need to break the cycle, we need to change things, and we end off the exact way how we live with a king. I mean, yeah, now kings will be elected by all of the small council instead of you know, kings being born into it, and then, well, my son will be the king after me, and then my son's son after him, and it's no longer that, at least, but it's still a king or queen on the throne. Jon, for whatever fucking reason, up to the wall. And the North, more or less the same way it was at the beginning. I mean, now we have the Queen in the North of Sansa, whereas when we began, Ned was kind of Warden of the North, and Cersei even said, the North is too large to be ruled from the South. And so it's always been its own kingdom. Now it's just officially its own kingdom. It was just like, dumb. While I do not agree with all of the people who were freaking out and wanted a complete redo of the season, I may just want a redo of like the last episode. Or 2. The last 2 episodes need to be redone. Done a bit differently, because that was just a little ridiculous. Man, they are still coming! There are so many armies! Too many armies! Could any of you please just fuck off and die? Yeah, so I've actually been rewatching season 1 now that the show's over. And you get to see a lot of interesting little things that you are clearly foreshadowing. I mean, there's a whole thing where, I can't remember his name, but he's the Maester of Winterfell. And he's talking to Robb and just like, oh, I'll go and I'll fight all of the Lannisters for, you know, pushing Bran out that window. And then the Maester goes, what? You're gonna have a war in the Godswood? It's like, well, that is kind of what happens. You know, with all of the White Walkers and everything. Just saying. Another interesting one, and this is much later, but I found this interesting little thing. The episode where Arya gets the Valyrian steel dagger that was used to attempt to kill Bran. When Bran gives her the dagger, basically, that she uses to kill the Night King. So, that's amazing bit of foreshadowing there. Because, he's in his wheelchair, under the tree, in the exact position where the Night King will eventually be there to kill him. And he hands Arya the dagger, and it's like, here, you could use this better than I can. Maybe it'll be of use to you someday. And she takes it, and it's like, okay, I've got a dagger now. Whoop, woohoo. And then later in that exact same episode, she's training with Brienne and does the whole hand-switching thing that led her to win, to kill the Night King. It's like, okay, so that's 2 different points of foreshadowing that are kind of epic, I gotta say. I'm just going back to the end of the series. I'm just so very disappointed with so many different characters' paths. It's like Jamie grew this huge amount through the series, only to have him come crawling back to Cersei at the end and trying to be noble to save her and dying to save her when he seemed to be happy with Brienne up north. It's like, what the fuck? Why was that even necessary? Clegane was alright. It was as good as it could be expected. I mean, you really couldn't have that much of a knockout, drag-out brawl with the fact that the Hound is so much smaller than the Mountain. It kind of went the only way it could. I just felt it could have been done better. Somehow. And, Sean going north, back north. It just irritates the hell out of me, because we sit there, go through this whole thing about Jon Snow is the rightful heir to the throne. He gets his way to it, and then it's like, nope, dragon burns it, and Grey Worm decides you don't get the throne. Okay. And where is Grey Worm and all of the Unsullied going? Oh, that's right, they're leaving. So once they leave, hey Jon, you want that throne? Fuck you, Grey Worm. That's what I would have done. But like, okay, yeah, we'll banish him to the wall. Jon, don't worry, they're leaving in 2 minutes. Just act like you're going north and then just, you know, take a lap around Winterfell. Head north, and in a day, come back. You'll be fine. Nobody will even know. Nobody will even care. Because Jon is the one who killed Daenerys, the person who burnt all of King's Landing. He should be praised. And just all of the prophecies that everything seemed to say, like, oh, well, these prophecies will always come true. Like, so many people all theorized about everything, and then it all was like, nope, they just kind of didn't even bother with, like, the Azir Ahai, whatever, how you pronounce it, prophecy and everything, somebody being reborn as the legendary hero and getting Lightbringer. That didn't happen at all. And then Cersei's prophecy of being killed by one of her brothers. And technically, you could say that Jaime leading her to the crypts underneath King's Landing, underneath the Red Keep and everything, led her to her death because there was no escape. But that's a very interpretive way of him being the cause of her death. When a prophecy says something like that, yeah, sure, it might be something like that, but people are expecting, like, somebody to actually, one of her brothers to actually fucking murder Cersei goddamn Lannister. And she deserved it. Somebody needed to do it. But in the end, it was a building falling. Worthless. I audibly booed at the TV. Like, my sister was wrapped up in the moment of the episode, and I was like, boo! Did they really just fucking kill Cersei in that way? It's hilarious, the contrast between my sister and I. She and I watched Game of Thrones together, and during the final episode, when Jon and Dany are standing there at the throne, and he's like, "You'll always be my queen," and then you hear a dagger, I was like, which one of them I'm like, who stabbed who? And then it panned out, and it was Jon, and she's like, oh, and I was like, oh, Jon did it. I wouldn't have been surprised had both of them stabbed each other. Like, that's the Targaryen way. You know? He stabs her because he's like, you're crazy, bitch, and she stabs him because you're a threat to my throne. Just kind of felt like it was a possible... That would have been a fucking better ending. If they both stab each other and they're both dead. Don't send Jon up to the fucking wall. It's just stupid. He already served his watch. His watch is ended. He died, and he came back to life. Could all of you fuck off? I'm gonna run now. I miss. Well, that's great. Don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare. And Taya has died. Did we lose for that? Really hope not. Basin taken by the enemy. I mean, come on! She'll be back in 5 minutes. Fuck off! Garbage. So, as we near the end of our battles and get to the end of the episode, I just want to give my final little bit of review on the Game of Thrones in general. If, like, today's everything has gotten too much into nitpicking every little tiny thing. Oh, there was a Starbucks cup on set that they missed, and everybody flipped shit over it. It was like, this is a news story? Who fucking cares? But there was no way they were gonna please everybody. But I would say if you can, like, and then they decided to do the behind the scenes stuff that they've started showing off, and that has gotten some people pissed because, oh, it was shown that the way that Arya was able to make the jump to the Night King in the middle of Godswood was there was a pile of dead bodies, and she jumped from the pile of dead bodies and was able to leap that far to get to him to stab him. But that was revealed in the behind the scenes stuff, and people were like freaking out that that's how they did it? Oh, bullshit. Oh, really? You're gonna nitpick over something as stupid as that? It was an epic moment. No one saw it coming. I wasn't expecting Arya. I wasn't initially like, yay Arya, but after it happened, I was like, yay Arya! Good job! Savior of all of the kingdom. All of the world has been saved thanks to Arya. You didn't see it coming, and that's what made it great. There were other things in other parts where, you know, Jon being banished to the wall you didn't see coming, but you didn't think were great. Daenerys burning all of King's Landing you didn't really see coming, but when it happened you didn't really feel great. There are some things that it's just dumb for them to reveal, because you know that by revealing it, you're gonna get so many people pissed off with it. It's like, just shut up and don't reveal every little thing. Like, Kit Harington didn't read the script until the table reading of the episode with everybody. And so, whatever that means, like, that entails all of it. I mean, the fact that he's going into rehab, probably. But, you know, people could probably find some bullshit thing to have to say about that. Like I just did, like I said. It's probably the reason why he's going into rehab for stress and alcohol. Is because he was like, wait, what? I'm killing Daenerys? Oh my god! Oh, 5 stages of grief sort of situation. All in the span of 3 minutes. Yeah, you can go ahead and keep using your red medicine, you fucking prick. I'm gonna kill you, regardless. You're dead. You can't red medicine everybody all the time. I can do this 3 more times. You dumb shit. And if I really wanted to, I could do this. Get fucked. You missed, you stupid piece of shit. Well, if that's the case, might as well. But ultimately, the whole show is great. It's just the last season is a bit rushed, and the last 2 episodes kind of ruin it. Ruin everything that they've built up towards. Not entirely, like the entire episodes didn't ruin it, but there were just certain parts that ruined what they were doing with certain characters during the final 2 episodes. 8 seasons, and they ruined certain characters in 2 episodes. Essentially. Yeah, what are you gonna do now? You use all 3 of your red medicines, both of you, you stupid fucks. It doesn't matter if you crit, you're still going to fucking die! So, I think everyone's just a little bit relieved that Game of Thrones is finally over. Some people are really sad. I'm a little disappointed that it's over, but at the same time, the way that they ended it, I'm glad that they're not doing any more of it. Because I just don't know where they'd go. But they are doing prequels, which is Frostmas Liberated. Whew, we managed to fight them off. Thanks, so the Black Dragon Squad is your guys, huh? Hehe, yep. Surprised? Relieved. It looks like you haven't run into Yugi either. Where could he be? I don't know. But we fight if we keep... Wait, but if we figure... But we figure if we keep fighting, our paths will cross eventually. Boss, I got bad news. Merrick's headed this way with a huge army. It's even bigger than the last one. We better get out of here. What? Listen up, everyone. We're out of here. Wait a minute, Joey. I've got an idea. Oh, great. A woman with an idea. Nah, I'm joking, Mai. I am not sexist at all. I just joke. I just make sexist jokes sometimes. Master plan. Well, that will have to wait until next time. We're done with talking about Game of Thrones. With Taya and her people safe from Merrick, Joey and friends decide to try and turn the tables on the Empire. The enraged Merrick has been driving his troops hard. So hard that much of his army has fallen behind. So it's actually not as big of an army as Nokuba initially said. Sensing an opportunity, Joey plans to strike at Merrick from behind, cutting him off from the rest of his army. The only problem is that they must defeat Merrick and get him isolated from his army before the rest of it shows up. So it's gonna be a fast-paced scenario next time on Yu-Gi-Oh! The Falsebound Kingdom. That'll do it for us today, guys. As always, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please feel free to leave a like. If you have any comments or suggestions, you can leave those in the comment section down below. If you want to keep up to date with all of my videos, you can subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook to become part of the conversation, also part of the voting for games I should play in the future. And as always, I'm Team Fair 93, and I'll see you guys next time.